All righty, we are live. Let's get moving here. So, what am I working on? So, what I thought I'd do is I thought I'd live stream me doing a little prompt engineering. Wouldn't that be exciting? So, I have a prompt that we use in our application, and what it does is it scores every sales call and tells us how qualified that deal is. That's the whole purpose of this prompt. And my objective here is to update that prompt so that it also does a better job understanding where that prospect is at, what their sentiment might be. And then we can start rolling that up. So what we do is we take all of these different sales calls, we score each one of them, and then we roll that up to a deal level so we can better understand how qualified a deal is and how likely that deal is to close. That's ultimately the goal. And I will share my screen here so y'all can see this. Let's see, do I want to do that? Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and let me show you first the prompt, and then I'm going to explain a little bit about how the prompt works. And hopefully everybody can hear me and see this okay. So right here is the entire prompt. And you can see like we have these different criteria for budget, authority, need, and timing. We use this, we do the scoring, we do this analysis here, and then we have a grading rubric that we use to calculate how well the sales rep did in qualifying each one of these things. So that's the whole point of this prompt. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change a very important part of it, which is understanding where that prospect is at. Let me see if I can find the original area. Authority mapping, it's not banned. Presentation discussion, example budget. See how long this prompt is. And that's something like you want to consider when you're working on a prompt. Length does matter. Like you don't want to just have the longest prompt of all time, but I find that the longer your prompt is, you can get a lot better outputs. You can cover a few more use cases. Sometimes that's not the case, but a lot of times it is. But most importantly, if it's a really long prompt, but it's only focused on one task, it generally is okay. The problem is when you start trying to shove too many tasks into one prompt, you run into issues. So in this case, we're mostly just, hey, qualify this thing. How qualified is this deal? So I find that this prompt works really well, even though it's long. So let's go through here and figure out where we're going to put this. So I'd like to determine the call outcome. Is it positive / advancing, meaning there's clear interest, next meeting scheduled, moving forward, neutral, nurturing, objection heavy, or negative and close lost? So I'm going to search here and look where we're going to put this. Authority mapping. No, it's not going to go here. This might be a new thing, to be honest. If this is a new thing, I might make this a completely different prompt. But one thing I need to do, so one thing that I did, actually, this will be interesting. So one of the things that I did is I added how confident the LLM is in the score that it gives. So here's some example grading. You can see this is the situation. Here's what the score would be. It would be a budget 3, budget confidence 2, and then reasoning. What I found when I added this budget confidence section is that the LLM just thinks it's always confident. So we actually removed it from the platform. You don't see confidence level anymore. We still score a confidence level, and that's part of the output here, which gets outputted in this little JSON format here, but we don't actually use it anymore. We don't display it because it's kind of pointless. So maybe what I'll do here is let me remove the confidence level, and then we'll create a different prompt that does this. Gosh, I kind of want to keep it in this prompt. I got to be honest. What should we do? Yeah, we're going to do a different prompt here. I don't want to get too crazy in this one because this one's already like pretty beefy. So let's get rid of confidence. You know what? We are going to get rid of confidence in a very special way. I'm going to open Claude. Actually, I think Claude is down right now, so I'm going to use T3 chat here. If you've never used T3 chat before, I like it a lot. What it is it allows you, it's a platform, it's a really, really good chat interface. It allows you to edit a whole bunch of, allows you to use a whole bunch of different models and you can switch between them. It's really, really nice. Okay. Side note, one of my favorite, I'm going to actually add it to my favorite, is Gemini 3 Flash Thinking. This is my favorite, probably my favorite model right now. It's fast and it still thinks. So those two things are usually pretty good. Can you guys still see my screen? Yes, you can. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do here is I just gave it the original prompt and I'm going to ask it not to change anything about the prompt except remove the parts of the prompt that instruct providing a confidence level. Because like I said, if we ask the LLM to tell us how confident it is in what it told us, it will say very confident. It's like the whole reason why LLMs work, right? It's probability. So we have really high confidence no matter what I did. So I want to remove that. So I'm going to use my little talk to text thing here. Carefully review this prompt and remove any part of it that instructs the LLM to give a confidence score. Also remove the confidence score from the output. Change as little as possible from the original prompt text, just removing any instruction that would tell the LLM to give a confidence score to its output. And then we're just going to send this through and see how it goes. Okay, cool. Let's see what happens here. You guys might get a little bored here while we're making this change. So this is something that I do pretty often just to talk a bit about what's going on here. And if you guys have any questions or anything, you can throw it in the chat. It should pop up for me and I'll answer questions as we go through. The goal here is really just to give you a little insight on how I prompt engineer. Let's go back to my screen here. Okay, so I do this quite often. I actually have a really good prompt that writes first drafts of prompts for me, and I'll take that and I'll run it through that prompt. I'll work on that draft that it gives me. I'll work on it to make it better, and then I'll do a whole bunch of testing. And then if I need to make a change to a prompt, I usually follow this process. But okay, so one or more call transcripts. Okay, cool. Let's just take all this. My concern here is that it's not formatted very well. Okay, so let's do divider, and then let's call this new prompt. Let's put it all here. Okay, I think, did I have, yeah, so that was kind of a mistake here. Okay. I like using, there's two ways that I organize prompts structurally. One way is using Markdown. So you can see here, I'm using the hashtag, which is a header. And then if you do two, it's a subheader, et cetera. You know, H1, H2, H3, all the way down. The other way is XML tags, which would look like this, where you'd have these little alligator mouths. That's how I think of them. And it would be like task overview. And then at the end of that section, you'd have the same thing, but it would be / task overview. You get the idea. I like both of them. In this case, I'm just using Markdown, and it works well, so I don't play with it. I don't have many issues using either, so I don't know which one you should use, but so it works for me. So let's review this real quick. Review one or more. Okay, so that looks good. You know, I have another way we can do this too. We can just throw a call transcript in here and see what happens. Maybe we should do that. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to comment them and I'll talk about prompt engineering and what I'm looking for here. This is going to be a little quiet while I read through this. Oh, another thing we should do here too, see how many times is the word confidence. 38 still, which is what it was before. So the new prompt doesn't have any of that. But one of my concerns is it didn't seem like this was formatted correctly. So let's just fix that first. Because if I go to the bottom here, I just don't think like it's going to come out. Oh, it did. Never mind. JK. Budget authority need, timeline, next step, overall, meeting type. Okay, so I actually don't need the prompt to do this either. So we have this overall, like how the thing is going. We actually use a different set of prompts to determine how a deal is going and like what the overall deal quality or where it's at. We don't need that in this prompt. Gosh, yeah, I need to just clean this prompt up in general. So there will be a little bit of silence here as I make a couple of these changes, but I'll explain everything as I go through it. One of the things that's really useful. So let's take a look at this real quick. So part of this prompt is we are figuring out the need portion of BANT, budget, authority, need, timing. Need assessment is understanding how much the prospect you're talking to needs the solution that we're talking about. How big is this pain point? What's the level of need? And you can see here, I give it an understanding of what that means. Need qualification focuses on problem recognition intensity, the solution seeking and solution seeking behavior. So strong need indicators, and I give an example of what some strong need indicators would be. Micro criteria for needs assessment include explicit pain point identification, impact quantification, urgency level evaluation, and current solution inadequacy. So I'm giving it criteria around this. And this is something that's really effective when you're working on prompts. If you can give criteria, give detail about what you are asking the prompt to do, it is so helpful. I can just say, hey, here's a call transcript. Can you tell me on a scale, on a 4-point scale, how high is the need qualification of this deal? And it'll give you an output. But as somebody who's been doing this for a really long time, building out sales orgs, there's something really specific that I think about when I think need. And I want to make sure that I rein in the LLM so it's more aligned with my methodology and what I believe about needs. So right here, you can see high value signals. We have behavioral indicators. Low need engagement shows through casual information gathering, delayed responses, and lack of specific questions. So I'm giving it a lot of criteria here. And then we do the same thing for timing. Now, I'll show you actually something kind of cool, especially with this prompt, is budget. So let me just find. Let me see. Let me just see. That's not going to be good. It's it's going to be hard for me to find, so I'm just going to skip talking about that part. Okay, let's just keep going here. Need. Do we have any questions? Again, if you have questions on prompt engineering, you can comment them and I'll answer them. I just thought it'd be fun to watch me edit one of these prompts. Okay, so what I want to do, I'm confident that we removed the confidence level. Now let's just double check our grading rubric here. Not qualified or totally unknown, leaning towards not qualified or somewhat qualified, very qualified. So here's that assessment that we were talking about earlier. What this part is doing is assessing and giving a 1-paragraph overall assessment of the opportunity. I'm going to leave it in here for now, but I might remove this because we have other ways that we do that. We have meeting type. This is a really important one where we have discovery, presentation, demo. This is a discussion where it's like one of the follow-up meetings that are involved in a sale. One of the things that I think is going to happen in the future, especially with sales reps, is I don't think we're going to have sales reps working out of a CRM for very much longer. In the sense of actually updating, filling out the CRM, like I just don't think that's what sales reps are going to be doing. I think what sales reps are going to be doing is doing the calls, and then LLMs will be responsible for everything else. And the CRM will just be a place to where they go and look at deals that they're working so they can make sure that they're keeping on track with everything. And then the LLM is going to do everything else. Part of this is understanding what the meeting type is. And this works really well. Okay, so we give an example grading. Confidence has gone from there. Okay, so let's test this and just see how it works. As long as it removes confidence, then we're going to be in good shape. We'll go back to T3 here. Oh, give me a second. I need to, it's one of the things I don't love. That's my known traveler number. Don't use it, please. Whoops. Okay, there we go. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go grab a transcript real quick. So this is the internal tool that we built. Well, it's actually not internal anymore. We got user licenses for our clients and stuff. Let me just do this here. I'm just going to copy this whole transcript. And let's just see how this works. Oh, actually, we can do this like that. Okay, so let's run in and just see what happens. I think it'll work like this. Yeah, so here's an example of this in practice. So you can see in our platform here, we have budget, authority, need, timeline, and next step. We give a little overview here, which is cool. Here's a meeting assessment I was talking about earlier, and then budget, authority, need, timeline, a little description of each. But the key thing here is we're getting a numeric value for budget, authority, need, timeline, and next step. And we can roll that up to a deal level. So this is a one-off one that we use for testing. But what happens is we roll this up to a deal level. So you can see across all of the sales calls what the different qualification scores are. Those all get rolled up. So that all comes here. And then we can do this little chat thing where we can ask questions about the deal and whatnot. Okay, so let's take a look here. Budget score 2. Well, prospect. So it gave 2,244. 2,244. Next step gave a 4. This is a hard deadline. The prospect current CRM. Why would the oh, that's timeline. Oh, okay, so it actually worked better. This is we were using, I think 2.5 Pro generated this one, and judging by this output, I actually think we got a better understanding here. So budget, authority, need, timeline, overall, meeting type, presentation, demo, which is what it is. Okay, perfect. So that's working fine, and we're not getting confidence anymore. So I like that. One of the things that I want to do though is, so I'm just gonna delete the old prompt here just to keep things cleaner. One of the things I want to do is I want to write another prompt that does this, determines call outcome category. So to do that, I'm actually going to use a prompt that I have that writes prompt. So I can show you how that works. That'll be fun. Prompt writing prompt. Great name, right? Again, if you have any questions around prompt engineering, you can type it in and then I'll take a look at it. I actually wonder, hopefully I'm getting all the comments if anybody's commenting because I don't see any now. But also you might just not have things that you want to talk about, which is fine. Okay, cool. So I think we're good there. Let me go back to my prompt. I'll share my screen again. I didn't want to. Okay, cool. So we're going to use this prompt writing prompt. So this will be pretty fun because what we're going to do is we are going to use my prompt writing prompt, which is a somewhat long prompt, not too crazy. It has clear steps on how to go through creating the prompt. And if you look here at the bottom, all I have to do is give an overview of the prompt. So let's go back to T3. We're going to do a new thread here. We'll still use Gemini 3 Flash Thinking. Again, that's my favorite model. And then I'm going to go here and remember, I want this to be based on, is it on here? Yeah, right here. Based on this. So I'm going to come in here. I'm just going to paste this down below and let's make a couple of tweaks to this. So this prompt of a sales call transcript. I'll use DocText here. Only the category should be outputted, no other text. So what I want it to do is just based on this transcript, output just which category it falls into. Now, there's a couple of things that we can do here, which is pretty interesting, or that could be interesting. Again, any question around prompt engineering, feel free to ask. But a couple of things that we can do here that'll be pretty interesting is right now in our platform, we do these types of assessments already, right? We do a decent amount of these assessments. What I'd like to do is I would like to roll up the output of this prompt, whatever category this call falls into. I'd like to roll it up to a deal level. So if we have a whole bunch of calls, right, and one of them was positive and advancing, and then like a few of them were objection heavy, and then one was positive and advancing, and then the next one was negative / close lost, what do we do, right? Like, what does that mean on a deal level? Can we have 3 positive and advancing and 1 objection heavy, and then all of a sudden it swings everything below? So the next step of this, which I don't have time to do today, the next step of this will be figuring out, hey, what should we do with this information on a deal level across all calls that are associated with that deal? And that can give us some really good insight. If you're just hopping on a deal and you want to see how's this deal doing, you can see it, but it's not going to be a clear, like, one of these 4, right? We need some kind of blended, I almost feel like it should be a meter of some kind, where maybe we do a 1 to 100 scale and we put points associated to each one of these. And then we can start showing where the points land. Maybe you start with 50 points. There's just some ideas. So I'm going to brainstorm and figure that out. But here's the prompt that got written. So let's see what we got here. The primary goal is prompt to analyze. The user will provide a full screen. Okay, that looks good. You must only output the category name. Do not. Okay. And one way too, like if you're like me and you don't feel like reading stuff, which definitely I fall into that category. I'll put this in a different note later. You can always just test it. But one of the things, I don't want to do examples here. Category name only, sales transfer. All right, let's just test this thing and see how it goes. And this is going to require more tweaking. I already know that, but this will be decent. This will be good enough, I think. So we'll take this transcript again. And let's see what the magic 8 ball says. I only got a few more minutes here, then I got to jump. Okay. Positive / advancing. Okay, great. And we can kind of spot check this. So, you know, the need is low. And here's another thing that I'm thinking of, like knowing that this call is positive and advancing overall, and knowing budget and authority is still pretty low. That tells me, like, I don't know if it really tells us that the deal is more likely to close or not. It helps us understand if the deal is still progressing, if the deal is positive, which it definitely does here, right? Like we have a good call with a non-decision maker. That's good. Even if we're not fully qualified, it's still a positive signal. I don't know where this is going to fit in our broader, how we predict if a deal is going to close or not. So I need to think through that, but I do like this prompt. I think this output's decent. Obviously I did no editing to this, so I need to really review this. Whoops. I need to review this. Let's put this in a new, what should we call this prompt? Does anybody have a good name for the prompt that we just made? Please type it into the chat. I would love to hear it. Let's do, okay. I'm going to put my name here, but in reality it was Gemini 3 Flash with thinking on. Okay. I think, any ideas? I think we should just name this prompt like sales call. You know what? What should we name this prompt? Make it no more than 5 words. Actually, we should probably do this in the other. Oh, I call it like the sales. All right. Sales call outcome classifier. Is it really an outcome? Is it really the outcome? Because the outcome might be that a next step was scheduled, etc. So let's just get a better name here. And then I got to go. That's a fair point. Thank you. I like this disposition. I like this sentence sentiment. So I think we're going to do sales call sentiment categorizer. Yeah, I think that's fine. So let's go back to Thymer here. Boom. Okay, cool. Well, there's our prompt. I'm going to go through this later. Also, I need to think if like we even need this. Like, do I even need this? Does this help me better understand what's going on a deal level? So I need to sit down and think through that. When I put together, this was all from, I was working on this, so I don't need any of this anymore. I was working on this with in a different prompt, and this came up, and I was like, I like this as an idea, but I don't know if we actually need it anymore. So I don't know. We will see if I keep it. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Hopefully this was helpful for you. And I'll probably go live doing some more prompting stuff later. Maybe not today, but later this week. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon. Bye.